وسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي.
What are we doing now?
Few different topics where things were not actually as they seem. Spoke about where a person might appear to be married, yet the behavior they receive from their spouse appears as if they're single. We spoke about someone who might appear to be wealthy, but in reality they are poor because of the fact they're lacking contentment in their life. We also spoke about someone who might appear to be intelligent, but because of their behavior, and especially regarding sinning in the Quran, we mentioned that after a person sins, the Quran labels that person as a jahil. So we went over a few of those examples where things are different than their actual. What appears to be might not be in reality. Today, inshallah, we'll continue that subject, but we'll stay focused on this one category today, and that is the category of death. But in reality, it's really not death. It's the sister of death. And that is known as, of course, we all look forward to a good night of sleep. Sleep is mentioned throughout the Quran. Sleep is mentioned throughout the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If any one of us here today can appreciate and enjoy a good night's sleep, it is a tremendous bounty and blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are people out there who cannot sleep, who are not sleeping as efficiently or enough, to such an extent that not only are they willing to spend large amounts of money, but some people are on the verge of suicide because of lack of sleep, insomnia, and the many things associated with people who are not able to get a good night's sleep. In the Quran, there are many verses that remind us of this category of life that we enjoy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا وَالنَّوْمَ سُبَاتًا وَجَعَلَ النَّهَارَ نُشُورًا. Of course, the night is kept for us to reposition ourselves, to restart ourselves, to reboot ourselves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the day as a rising. وَجَعَلَ النَّهَارَ نُشُورًا, so that we may be able to rise again and we might be able to do our daily routine once again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says regarding sleep, وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سُبَاتًا. So going to the concept that sleep is the sister of death, the verses also reminds us of this, that Allah يَتَوَفَّى الْأَنفُسَ حِينَ مَوْتِهَا وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا. Here the wordings and the vocabulary used, of course, reminds us regarding death. Allah يَتَوَفَّى الْأَنفُسَ حِينَ مَوْتِهَا وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا. And these wordings, يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ or يَتَوَفَّى الْأَنفُسِ, in the context of things, if it's used regarding a person's demise, it refers to as death. But here in the context of the sentence and the verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who takes the souls during the nighttime. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who allows for the souls to return to the body during when we experience waking up back in the morning. And the Sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reminds us of this and confirms this fact as well. Why? Because look at some of the du'as. Some of the du'as and prayers that we recite before we go to sleep, and the du'as and the prayers that we recite when we wake up. Before we go to sleep, one of the famous prayers is Allahumma bismika amutu ahya, that oh Allah, with your name the wording here is amut, literally amut. I mean, there's no other. And throughout our lives we heard the wording maut, but here the context makes the difference. The context of it is that, oh Allah, I take your name before I go to sleep and when I wake up again. Similarly, when we wake up in the morning, the context of the dua versus the actual wording, for example, Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa ilayhi nushur, that all praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given me life once again, who has allowed for me to wake up in the morning, and to Him we all return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are some of the wordings found in the Quran, found in the Sunnah. The du'as are found regarding sleep. Let's look at one of the most famous verses of the Quran that we all know, we all memorized from our younger days, Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi reminds us regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never experiences the slightest of drowsiness, nor does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala experience sleep. He does not need these things. As human beings, we are dependent on sleep, drowsiness. If we ever experience drowsiness in our everyday life, especially during driving, very, very dangerous. A few seconds can change the complete shift of your vehicle. So that's why if we look at the big semi-trucks, the DOT, they require mandatory 8 hours driving. After that, if you're caught by the state police or state troopers that you're going and you're kind of playing with the numbers, it's a very hefty fine. Why? Because they want to prevent the drivers of these big rigs from causing huge accidents, and that's just from drowsiness. Forget about falling asleep behind the wheel. It's just from drowsiness. People who have been driving over the road or who have careers in this field, they will tell you the seriousness of those fines and those tickets. Going back to the Ayatul Kursi, لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Bani Israel, we know that Bani Israel, they were very challenging to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were very arrogant in their behavior, and they wanted to understand further that how is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never sleeps. And of course this question was posed to Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam needed further clarification and requested Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for further details and further incitement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Musa alayhi salam that it's very simple to explain. And he told Musa alayhi salam that on one night, you will stand throughout the night with 2 glasses full of water. All you have to do is just spend one night standing with 2 glasses full of water and see what happens. Of course, quarter of the night went. Before even half of the night went, Musa alayhi salam experienced drowsiness, and those 2 glasses of water, what happens? At the slightest movement, we know how that experience. Some of us maybe fall asleep with the phone in our hand, and in the middle of whatever we're doing, the phone just falls down. And then when the phone falls down, all of a sudden wake up. Similarly, Musa alayhi salam was commanded that you will stand the whole night with 2 glasses of water full and see what happens. Of course, before half of the night even passed, the glasses fell. And this was just experience of Musa alayhi salam's drowsiness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirmed to Musa alayhi salam, if this is your behavior with a simple 2 glasses of water, what about the entire universe and everything in its contents? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained to Musa alayhi salam, if I experience the slightest amount of drowsiness, everything will be completely destroyed. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never experiences any drowsiness, forget about even sleep. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. In the Arabic language, we know the comprehensiveness of Arabic. There are probably 50 different words to explain the different levels of sleep. It's truly a marvel, something for us to just marvel at and be amazed at. 50 different levels of sleep. The wordings are different. And some of the translation of those wordings could be that when a man simply feels sleepy, or when a person becomes drowsy, or when a person is half asleep, or when a person is unable to even sit without falling asleep, a light sleep, a short sleep, a long sleep, a deep sleep, and a very, very deep sleep. Let's look at the example in the Quran of a very, very deep sleep is of course Ashab al-Kahf. Ashab al-Kahf. In the Quran it mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا. If anyone wants to study sleep and how to enjoy a deep sleep, you simply have to focus. The tools that are given to us are something like to cover your eyes, so your eyes are not disturbed by the light. But in the Quran it mentions regarding your ears. And you can ask anyone who is a light sleeper. The slightest, smallest sound will wake a person up who is a deep, or rather a light sleeper. And if in Ashab al-Kahf and their experience and their story, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us and informing us regarding how their ears were, if you want to say covered, or their ears were protected so much so that they were able to experience a long slumber. فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا. In the Quran it mentions what? Plus minus 300 years Ashab al-Kahf were sleeping. And what else was it that their ears were protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from disturbance. So if we ever want to enjoy a good night's sleep, we know that if we have youngsters, children, grandchildren, of course children run around and make noise. And what happens when our sleep is disturbed? We begin to yell at them, and we instruct our wife or whoever the female is at the home that, hey, you take care of your children, I need some sleep. And this is the common behavior that we find. But this is something that we should focus on if we are lacking sleep, focusing on our ears. Some people, they built a habit that if you go on YouTube, there are 8-hour-long videos, 10-hour-long videos of just, it's called white noise. White noise, all it is sometimes maybe the sound of the ocean, or it's maybe the sound of rain, or it's maybe the sound of thunder and lightning. Some people are so used to, they have built this habit that they need some noise in the background to fall asleep. It's truly something to look at and see. But the Sunnah also confirms this concept of the ears and how the ears are connected to our sleep. Why? On one occasion, an individual was deep asleep, so much so that he missed the prayer. He missed the prayer. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam confirmed that shaitan urinated in his ear. Shaitan urinated in that person's ear to such an extent that he enjoyed a longer than normal slumber and sleep that he missed the prayer. And this is what happens most of the time to us when we miss Salatul Fajr. We miss Salatul Fajr because Bala Shaitan fi udhunay are this thing. So again, we wanted to continue last week's topic and subject matter regarding things that are connected. So we focus today on sleep and how sleep is the smaller death. And the reminders can continue. For example, the people who are so accustomed to qiyam, the people who are so accustomed to qiyam and they love qiyamul layl so much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirms their rank in the Quran as well. تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا. They are such people who separated their sides from the bedding. When we fall asleep, and how sleep is the smaller death, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sunnah is that you sleep on your side and you sleep on the right side. Why is it? Because it's the smaller death. It reminds us that when we place a person in the grave, what else are we doing besides making their face the right and facing towards the Qibla? So the similarities and the beauty in our religion and how everything is interconnected. We wanted to give ourselves that opportunity today. Inshallah, we'll continue again with these topics. Wa akhir da'wana, alhamdulillah.